Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Season Podcast, a show where we deep dive into hospitality and the people that run it.
And this is going to be a fun episode because the guest that we have today could have been an IITian, but she chose to go the culinary route from interning at Noma to being a head chef at 25 for one of the only two restaurants that won 5-star in the Culinary Culture Awards to winning SP Young Chef Award in 2022 and also in the pre-opening team for Avartana at ITC Grand Chola. I would like to welcome Mythrayie. Mythrayie, welcome to the podcast. How have you been? How is it going? Okay.
So yeah, it'll be cool for you to walk us through your entire IIT journey, because that's something which stood out to us mainly because why the IIT switched to Manipal?
So I think even now, but always been a curious kid with science, generally interested to giving a lot of importance towards science, even with cooking, science behind cooking. So like that, I generally thought since science was my thing to do something nobody in my family's ever done. So IIT is something that nobody in my family has ever done till then. So I said, okay, let's crack that and be the smart kid in the family. So that's how I started off. So till 6th standard, I used to fail terribly. And then something happened, something switched. I think we went to a lot of temples, or I don't know what happened. Right? I was in top 5.
Wow.
So I told Ma, like, now that we've gotten better at this, put me in BITS and IIT. Went there, I think half the classes, honestly, and I used to be this person. Even now, if I don't get something right at the first time, cry. I have to cry.
Let it all
In the
out.
kitchen, even in the kitchen, something doesn't right, go out and cry. And then come back with the same force and do it probably. But yeah, so I used to do that. And of course, I didn't get through IIT. I think it was a little too difficult for me. But BITS did happen. And culinary happened at the same time. And just took a detour. And this is where I am today.
Why did you decide culinary out of randomly when you're training for IIT throughout the time? What was the switch?
Exactly, like I said, science behind. No, so as a kid, my mom used to say whenever she used to go for driving class, I used to go mix sambar, tair, sadam, everything and keep. So every time, at least once a week, we'll have to recook because of me. So I just want to see how it tasted. And she kept telling this for a very long time. And I used to eat a lot of potatoes. And my email ID also said Urlakaranga. Urlakaranga literally meaning potato. So that was my email ID. So she said, I'll get you married to a potato vendor. You'll be happy in life. So food was always a conversation, I think, in family. We love food at home. So food is always a conversation, like I said. So it was there behind my mind. So just one day, like I was just telling Chef, I really don't know how to trace back how things switched over the night. But just thought I should do something fun that I look forward to the day every day at work. It should not feel like work. That was my only thing that I thought of. And I said, when I thought of a chef, I thought it was more to eating than to be creative. I think I grew into what I am today over the years rather than just knowing what it was. I got into it and I moved on. Yeah, like
What happened?
But were you cooking as a child? Like, was there...
yes, a lot.
were you eating
A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
So
I used to
that
cook a
was-
lot and then I ate.
Okay. So,
First dish was
like...
the rava upma.
Rava upma.
Yeah, rava upma. It was like probably like kanji, like porridge. Not anywhere close to an upma, but that was the first thing.
And how old were you when you made this?
4th grade.
4th grade. Okay, well,
Mom was not there. Grandpa was hungry. Said, okay, I'll make rava upma.
that is cool. 4th grade, I was only eating. I started cooking around 7th and 8th. But like we were discussing, it was quite a dramatic overnight switch, right?
Yes.
So was it just like gut feeling?
Gut.
Where you felt
Just gut.
4 years of IIT can be on the side, like, but culinary is something that I want to...
So I got this gut feeling because I came across this course on the internet, just going through different courses that people generally do apart from being a engineer or a doctor, I think. So I just stumbled upon this course, and it was the first course Manipal was opening. So they actually told us, I called him up, I called
So
Tirusur.
you were
He
the
was,
first batch for workshop?
yeah, first batch of culinary arts.
Culinary
First.
arts?
2011.
2011.
Yeah.
Must be going Tej.
So just 20 of us in a batch. Because they didn't know if the culinary arts program will even work. So it was a trial error batch for them. Just took 20 of us.
Opening of everything.
Yeah, yeah. 20 of us.
So now these are 3 pre-openings. So you were the experimental batch. The first one I remember, Tej and Viren were also
Yes,
there.
they are my batchmates. Yes.
Okay, they were my batchmates in Indian accent
Nice.
MT program. Small one.
Small world. I didn't know you.
Summer
I'm very nice.
So that happened.
So the next day I had 1 day break. So I knew somebody from Radisson in Chennai. So I just told one of my mom's friend knew somebody in Radisson. So I said, can I come and see the hotel? Just wanted to know, even though taking a risk, just wanted to go and see if I was comfortable in the environment. So I went to the kitchen. The first thing I went to the butchery. Because coming from a Brahmin family, the only thing my mom and dad said was, you can't do non-veg.
Oh, okay. So you were vegetarian till
Yeah.
Okay.
Till now, family vegetarian. At home, I'm a vegetarian. Vegetarian since better in my body than meat consumption.
The key words at home.
No, but I generally feel body feels very different when I have.
So you
vegetarian.
prefer veg over?
Yes.
Okay.
I love to cook meats though. It's a challenge for me.
Yeah.
You have to be good at it. That kind of a.
And you have to taste it, right?
Yes, I taste.
Taste.
I love to eat meat also, but that's all. So just went, I stood in the butchery, didn't feel awkward at all. Like surprisingly, just felt the same way I'm feeling right now. Just stood there and like everything felt like it belonged.
It's meant to be there.
Yeah. So I just
Sort of clicked in that moment,
yeah.
right?
So I said, Ma, this is what I'm doing.
Was it hard to convince your parents? Because usually it's very hard to convince the parents to move to
A little bit. Even now, my dad still feels like 5% I should have done something different. The architect to take over his business.
Indian dads always feel that way.
Yeah. Moms, I think, move past it.
My dad till my 3rd year was like, do a secondary architecture course also. I'm just passing out in 5 months. How does this make sense? But yeah, that's there. I think culinary was something which took, especially Indian parents, a while to get on board.
Yes,
right?
a lot.
Because earlier, and the mentality was that people who didn't score well in exams would go to hospitality way back in the day.
Right.
So that's
I remember when I went for the culinary arts interview, I scored a 97 in my 12th.
Okay, wow.
They're like, oh, why are you here? Like, people are just sitting like other candidates. They're like, why are you here? Like, what do you mean by why are you here? No, bro, I got 63. I didn't know that was a criteria. Hospitality, honestly, but yes.
So post Manipal, what was your journey like? How did you take a call that you wanted to do your internship, and how did your journey transfer?
So, I think way back, I still think a lot of people, a little old school. I'm not saying it. There's nothing wrong in being old school. So, given an idea, a lot of people in the 20 of us, right? So, priority was given to joining hotels. Because that gives you a great career, security, monetary wise, career wise. You're always in a safe space.
Correct.
So, that was there. So, unlike a few people like Viren, Aaron, they thought differently then only. So I fell into the normal herd. I just said, okay, chef says hotels, we'll do hotels.
Also, colleges promote hotels, right?
Exactly.
They have the tie-up.
And Manipal tied up with ITC. So getting into ITC was a big thing. Everybody like sat there. They took like 11 of us amongst 200, including Baksha and Baka. So it was sort of like you've been putting on limelight, you're the best of the best, creme de la creme, to be getting into ITC. So I wanted to be part of that. So I got into ITC, and that again we were posted. One of the first batches was posted in Manesar. It was a pre-opening project. So it was 11 of us managing the entire hotel for 6 months. With no chefs who had come in. It was just one executive chef, 11 of us management trainees. Pre-opening, we had about 10 to 12 guests every day, learned to be on the range, did mistakes, that happened. And then luckily, unlike the rest of my batch, there's something called the Culinary Olympics that happened in Grand Chola. That year in 2015. 2015 it happened. And said, let's put 3 of our management trainees to go compete in that program, where all sous chef CDPs were competing. And the other 2 backed out. And they asked me, you want to go in for pastry or South Indian? I said, pastry, I can't relate only. At least South Indian, I'm sure I can cook a good sambar. Okay, that was this thing. I said, okay. Then they came back and said, it has to be a 3-course meal. It has to be progressive South Indian. Didn't know what was progressive. Meaning just cooking burgers and Caesar salad every day. So thank God this came in like 3 months before the competition. So did a lot of research. I knew that I was going to compete against sous chefs or CDPs. Irrespective of them being creative more than me or not, I knew they had a skill set than what I did. at that time.
And this is while the MT was going.
Yes,
Okay.
it was the management training program that was happening.
What does the research look like? And how do you go about the research when it's
Then it was just to have seafood meat and a dessert and some vegetarian thing. That was my concept. I honestly didn't have a great idea about how to do a tasting menu, like how I have the exposure now. I think a lot of things changed over the time. Then I knew I wanted to start with something fresh. That much idea I had, just to feel fresh. Because whenever I go to a restaurant, it has to be a lemon or something to open my palate up. So things like that, which I had done over the years of dining experience, even though it was small restaurants, I knew I wanted to put that
out?
So just happened, I paired, I think, squid lemon rice, did a quail course. And then I don't even remember what the dessert was. So it went there. It was 11 of us in that category, South Indian progressive. Until we put out the dish and the results came, we didn't know that only for that category, it was sort of a trials for Avartana. So who performed the best in the 11 was going to be taken as part of the team, which I didn't know. I was still an MT. I knew I was going to go to some coffee shop. This happened. They're just very happy, I think, with my energy, with the way I explained, irrespective of the experience I had a great energy, I think, when I was on the platform. So I got third.
Wow.
And then I got posted as junior sous chef. On the day, they were just announcing the junior sous chef, and then they say, whatever, hotel and coffee shop. They said ITC Grand Chola, Avartan. And I'm like, Avartan, which is this coffee shop? They're like, no, you're going to be the pre-opening of a South Indian progressive restaurant. Like, okay, like a lot of pressure. Didn't know what to expect out of it.
Do you think that was life-changing for you when
A lot.
exposure came?
A lot.
But was progressive
Very
something?
scary at that moment because rest of them had guidelines or had seniors who could guide them on how to go about how it will be the next 6 months. I had no idea, no guidance because it was a specialty restaurant and I was just going to be there with
And
few.
pre-opening.
Yes.
With all the things that...
Literally from breaking the first brick to placing the first brick, like was there
Wow. And how long did it take for Avartana to open up?
2 years.
2 years
2
to
years.
open up.
2 years of
Including R&D and
yes.
all the building and that.
And the project conceptualized an year and a half before that.
Okay.
Oh, so it's technically
It took 3.5 years.
years, yes.
So it takes 3.5 years to build up and set up a proper
Yes.
experience. And
Experience. And how many covers was Avartana?
62.
So 62 covers. Wow. It's a lot of covers for...
Yes.
Okay.
And we used to do turnover. So it used to go to 90 per day.
That is...
And it's a tasting menu with like 4 different tasting menus where a table can choose all different 4 tasting menus. 4 of us can do all different 4 tasting menus and you have to run the show.
they have
So it's like money.
Yeah. Like I said, first day service pass, cried, table 10, chef, how to do, chef, I don't know how to park, whom to pick up what, like, but yeah, like, it was so much fun. I think it brings the most uncomfortable situation brings out the best in you.
Yeah, and also tasting menus teaches you how to take out food in a rhythm, right?
Yes,
A
yes,
la carte is way more chaotic.
exactly.
With Indian accent,
I
I
didn't
realized,
realize-
that it has to be like you can't pick up a complete dish from just one
No,
department.
Yes.
You have to sort of consolidate it at the pass.
Communication,
And everyone
most
is giving
important.
you one ingredient, which was... But was progressive South Indian something that you had in mind earlier? Or it just happened because of the Olympics and you giving that trial?
I didn't know about it. It just happened because of it.
And it wasn't in your head that this is something that I would want to pursue cuisine-wise? Because right out of college, it's always Conti people, there's finesse in hot kitchens, Indian is bulking, and all of those curries.
True, I think I used to be the same person, but not liking what happened then, I was forced into the South Indian section because there was nobody else taking care of it. The chef thought I had a knack to what I grew up with eating. So he said, you're a South Indian. I genuinely feel like you'll be good at it. Just go for it. I didn't like that 1.5 years, honestly.
Yeah.
I was just waiting for any chance to go to any other department, but I was like I was the only one in the department. There was only 6 dishes, but they just put me alone. Do everything on your own. Not knowing how to make an idli batter to perfecting an idli batter, that also happened. So,
Did the R&D help? Because I noticed that you'd gone on a trip around Tamil Nadu to understand the...
yes, a little bit of it. The major part was done before I joined in because of placements and all that. Even ITC, of course, has the 3 weeks of placement where they decide, they go through vigorous interviews and know where you'll be best suited. So that happened. So I couldn't go for a lot of travel, but did understand what they did and a couple of other travels that they did after I joined the team. And to bring it together was, yes, a lot of
Must
fun.
have been a full experience.
Yeah.
Launching. And Avartana was a hit. I think the moment it
Yes.
launched, I remember the ghee candles that you guys
Yes.
used to do.
Yes.
They got quite
Correct.
popular, right? But I
So-
haven't been there.
Avartana, like there's a chef called Satish. I think he opened up a lot of things in the outside world for me. Till then, it was just a bubble of hotels. What happened in hotels? What did they do in a buffet? Different textures. That's all. I didn't know Alinea, El Bulli, what was
But
Noma.
also at that time, Avartana was one of its kind. It was the first popping up.
Exactly.
Right? Because usually it's like a buffet or like a la carte. So they changed.
Actually, Avartana got a lot of attention the right way when it opened.
Correct.
For a tasting menu, grandeur, ITC, of course.
And that was
you
around the
marketed
time
right way.
Indian, progressive Indian was picking
Exactly,
up in the
picking up.
country, right? Everyone was trying their hands at it. I think only Farsi and Indian accent was there by
Yes.
then, right?
And of course, Gagan was Gagan doing what
Yeah,
it was doing. But
I think he spearheaded the whole
Yes.
modern
Yes.
Indian movement.
That
It
was
was
started in Bangkok, is it? It was always in.
always in
all in
Bangkok.
Bangkok is.
But I think he started the whole progressive, and then India also picked up. And
But how he started off and what he does now is very, very different. I think he also involved good time or chef. I still saw Facebook photos where he has done chicken tikka in like a different box with rice
as I
Interesting.
as a filler, probably a filler or a last course, something like that. And now how he's
Changed.
changed,
it's nice.
and now he's opening up a new restaurant.
Yeah. But he's partnered with LV also recently, and he has opened up LV Design.
Yeah.
And it's a collaboration.
There's
Very cool.
a garb counter
Yeah.
at the LV store. Yeah.
So like there's all this wheel which they do in LV Design. Like,
Oh, okay.
it's very beautiful the way they do it.
Nice.
It's cool to see some Indian there shining out.
Hmm.
But coming back, what I'm really curious about is in hindsight, because you had the hotel experience, would you recommend every culinary student to join the hotel immediately or explore restaurants?
I personally think the first 2 years would be a great start. Because you don't, if you're going to be falling on the same category I did, I was a late bloomer. So I figured out what I want to do a couple of years later. So hotels and managing people kind of gave me a very strong foundation. And then once I figured what I want to do, I think that was it just became a routine, like an involuntary thing of how to manage people. That was just happening. I could focus on the bigger side of it right now.
No, but agreed on that. I think first 2 years
Yeah.
you should join hotels.
To figure it out.
More than anything, like she said, you learn a lot of skill and you get some time to sort of get your rhythm in the kitchen. And I think standalones, because the margins are so low, training is not as good as you would get in hotels.
But people could argue that a hotel is an MNC and a standalone is almost like a startup, where you have multiple hats and you tend to learn more in a stand-up comparison.
But not in the starting of your career when you have to focus on more minuscule things like your knife skills, understanding flavors,
Don't you think
cooking
the-
culture.
But also saying, but I think I'm talking for, it was 2014. Yeah. Right now, I think a lot of restaurant focuses on individual growth of, for people who are working there, not just like use them as labor, given a lot more and grow together.
Yeah.
So I think right now, I what I said probably doesn't make sense, but back then I think that was right.
the best.
Yeah, it just worked out right.
And hotels were what was promoted post-college.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
So
People used to refer restaurant, hotel as hotel.
Hotel.
Like, it's
Yeah.
not a hotel in-
let's go to
Even now, mom asked, "Etna money ke when are you going to hotel? Ma, hotel in restaurant."
That's a thing to break. But moving forward, after Avartana, how did your career progress and what made you switch from Avartana? What was the call?
So like I said, Avartana worked really well for me. I was very, very lucky to have been a part of that project. Opened up, I figured I always want to cook with flavors that I grew up eating. I figured that during the tenure at Avartana happened, and then like he mentioned, hotels, once you start getting promoted, no, it's more documentation, more about management than you being on the range. And I like that adrenaline rush that comes through service, to be on fire, to burn something.
Yeah.
The butter is burning, not, I don't want brown butter, it's already there. What do I do now? Start over again. So, like to face those challenges that wasn't happening on a regular basis. So I said, Noma, we had a conversation. one of the other social, it's happening, Noma College, like they're opening an internship for next year. Said, okay, let's just apply.
How do you apply? What is the application process?
Just went website, sent a mail. That's all.
That's all.
That's all.
As simple as.
Only reason being I was interested in fermentation. Again, coming back to science, I didn't know what was happening in fermentation. I could never put my head around fermentation. I used to put yeast, pineapple, and try to make something, and it would turn out something bad. Just trying to figure out the process back then was very, very like interesting for me. So Noma happened. Just applied to Noma, and 2 days later, I just get a mail from them saying they were selected for the internship program.
Wow.
It was
Wow.
luck, 100% luck.
And it's very hard to get an internship.
Yes.
25 people.
True.
Again.
Yes.
Wait,
And in
I
our
think
batch,
by
7
then-
of us.
The internship, this was the first time they were doing internships? Or
No.
they
It
had
was Noma 2.0's first batch.
first batch? Okay.
After they opened the new one.
2.0 had a lot more fermentation
Yes.
and
they had their own lab.
lab and
yes.
everything. Yeah.
So what makes Noma special compared to any other place in India or like in the US?
Shitly.
I think work culture. For me, everything that I took from Noma was about work culture and working and how you make people feel. It's about hospitality.
Interesting.
More than I don't think I picked up a lot of flavors and techniques there because it's a huge team. It's about 120 to 130 people.
Wow.
In the
catering.
kitchen.
Yes.
Wow. That's like a
Like
village.
90 in the kitchen, 30 in service, something like that. Because when we were in staff meal, I used to count how many people I need to cook for.
Cook.
That's it. Like,
Yeah, that's really how it is.
yeah,
The
staff
staff
meal
meal
there.
are a-
Everybody has to do a staff meal there.
So you guys alternate kind of.
Yeah. So, no, you get 1 week. That entire week is yours. You need to put up a show.
Oh wow. Anything.
And you have to cook
You have to,
alone.
yeah, you have
Like
one
the-
more person. You paired up with one more person.
One more person.
Yeah, and then they usually pair people from the same country
How
because they feel
much
like,
sambar did Noma staff eat at one point? Did you
no, that day,
give them Indian food?
I think the best meal for me was pepper mutton. I made pepper mutton, 14 kgs.
14 kg.
Yeah, couldn't reach the
Very
head of the pot. Couldn't reach.
Was huge.
It was huge. The ladle alone was this big.
And
couldn't
just like
reach.
sauteing it is such a. I remember making like 15 kgs of lal mas, and that was like a good workout.
Yeah.
After that, you just go home and pass out.
I mean, pressure to also be there. No more than guests. You're cooking for chefs of Noma. You can't get it wrong. Your seasoning has to be on point, and I feel like it's one stage where you can put yourself out there in front of them,
Correct.
irrespective of
And show your skills. there.
exactly. So how much can you do in whatever task they say? Of course, you can do it right, but they don't know what you're capable of bringing to the table. So that is a chance for you to show what you got. Yeah.
So like staff meal almost became a platform where people showcase their culture to
Yes.
every week new culture comes to.
Yeah. So this I got to know through an intern who went before. So I just called him up before I went for the internship and asked him like, what are you excited? So he told me about the staff meal thing. So when I went to Noma, I took like this olden day trunk boxes there, the steel trunk box. All seasonal, like spices, dried fruits, everything from Tambram culture.
Okay.
So just put together in a box, went to the R&D lab. That was the first impression I created. So yeah. Renee still like...
That's fun. Like,
yeah.
They must have
They
really
yeah.
appreciated that.
They're like, oh, we didn't know. We've never had an intern who put effort to bringing something to the table before the internship program even started.
So that's a good note with people who are joining.
Yes.
Take initiatives, be proactive.
Always know the team. It makes them... They like it when you know about them. Yeah.
And if you're excited.
Exactly. Guests will always know about this thing, but people who you want to work with, it's good to know about them.
True.
Yeah.
And like what sort of jobs were you doing in the internship? Because
So always...
it's such a massive kitchen, right?
Yeah. So the internship program is kind of programmed a little bit,
Okay.
but it changes in the due course depending on, like I again said, what you can do.
But is it like a set thing? Do
Yeah,
they
so you
have
always
some sort
start
of
with
SOPs
foraging.
in mind? Okay.
That is the testing period. 10 hours just on the ground, rams and capers. You're stinking of garlic. You don't want to sleep for the next 2 days.
And is this close to the restaurant or is there
No,
somewhere else?
About 100 kilometers from the restaurant.
Oh, wow, 100
Yes.
kilometers.
Yeah.
Okay. And this
You
was
need
every
to
day?
do 2.5 hour travel every day. Yes.
Wow.
Of course, you're good at foraging. That is also a bad thing. They put you in foraging only. Yeah. So you need to be a little smart and show where you're good at and where you're not. But yes, usually 2 to 4 weeks of foraging, and then you go into production with the rest of the interns. The herbs, the garnishes, everything falls in the production where time taking, lot of hands required. That's the production area.
True.
Once you show some more interest, so in this case, if you plan out your day, come back, and then you tell the chef, this is all what I want to do. And then he sees potential, they move you into sections. Or
So you don't get to cook proper dishes
yes.
or some elements?
No, you get to do elements. You get to help the CDPs and the sous chefs. So I, of course, got into one of the sections which had dolmas, a bit of ants, marigold, so different things like that. So you get to work.
Is it usually common for interns to go full-time post from the thing? Do they bring people out? Does it?
Yes, including me, I did get a chance to work at the
Did they
restaurant.
offer you?
Yes.
And why did you not do it?
So I came back to India because it wasn't confirmed. So the entire team kind of needs to agree onto this decision. One person didn't with me.
Okay.
Does the entire 90 people have to work?
In the sense, the core team.
Core
The core team, the
upper
upper development
management.
and the sous chefs have to definitely agree. So I didn't sit well when one sous chef
Okay.
for different reasons. Yeah, so got into a huge fight during the internship. I think that I didn't know that I would be offered a place and then this could affect. If I did, I would have probably not
Taken out.
taken his case then. That time I was just being a
And then
person, yeah, being the chef.
But then it
No
worked
chef,
out
yes.
great for you anyway.
Yeah, actually, no regrets. Happened. So waited for 3 months to get them to get back with me on this. That was the break between Noma and Farmlore. So 3 months I waited. Then Rene kind of sent a mail saying, unfortunately, irrespective of 90% agreeing with them, Merrick is not okay. The social was not okay with you, so I'm sorry. So then Noma didn't happen. Then Farmlore happened.
And like while the 3 months of them deciding, were you applying in other places?
No, so I was working on a pop-up in Chennai for the Satyam cinemas. So they were opening up the Crest, which is a kind of fitness thing. But before opening, they wanted to call Who's Who of Chennai and do. Satyam is known for their popcorn, then cinema. Cinema is a big thing in Chennai.
Unlimited cheese
Yes.
powder.
different these things they can put.
Now it's really on TV.
Custom-
Satyam's diet now.
Custom, what do you call it? Custom culinary.
Custom culinary.
Yes, custom culinary is premixes.
Premixes.
Yes.
No, but I like that about Chennai movie theaters. Is
We
that
love our movies.
it's affordable. Your popcorn,
Yeah,
coffee doesn't cost
that's
you
all.
a penny. And you have all of this unlimited seasonings.
But anyways, coming back, one thing I've noticed is that there's a recent talk on the internet about how Noma doesn't pay the interns. What's your take on that? And
I think it's okay.
it's okay.
I think it's okay for the level of experience that they provide you over those 3 months and what you can pick up. And it's Noma, so you want to go there. I mean, generally, you're the one who's interested in working with them and finding out what they got to offer. So I think it's okay for them not to pay you. It's not about affordability or not for me. I think I would like to pay that much for an experience that I'm getting. Yes.
It's like going to LCB or doing
Exactly.
a
It's like a
good
course.
course abroad. That and plus they're quite upfront about it.
Yes,
When you write to them, they tell you that they won't be able to provide
exactly.
you.
So it's your choice.
Upfront and
Yes.
It's not like you reach there and they tell you we won't pay you. So it's a decision.
The entire program of the internship, everything they give you. And yes.
What about accommodation?
Nothing. I think everything is on you, but it's a barter. You are getting to work in the best restaurant in the world.
You
And
put
they are
Noma in the CV.
Yeah, and they are getting.
Like, honestly, they get a lot of different.
After Noma.
Sorry?
They can get placed anywhere in the world after Noma.
No.
At least give the access to apply and be
Exactly.
considered
People will
seriously, right?
People will definitely notice you.
It gives you, I think, some clout in terms of when you apply that you're bringing something on the table that the other people might not be because they don't have that exposure.
Another advantage compared to the rest.
Definitely.
Pretty cool.
They have a particular watch that all sous chefs and CDPs wear, which is monitored by Rene. So he gets a morning report data of what is the quality of sleep and how many hours of sleep each of the staff have gotten. If it's less than 40%, you're not allowed to report to work.
Wow.
That's the first thing I've heard that.
Yeah, you're not allowed to. So this was a conversation, like I was going outside during service to pick up lavender and Rene was walking in. So like, how are you doing, chef? And then chef, I said, of course, it's a fangirl moment. Can I just like have a conversation with you? And then the service wasn't busy. Like, of course, as an intern, I could be like replaced. So just sat there like for 15 minutes. He was just talking about work culture. And then his watch looked very different. And I just asked, like, what brand of watch is like Scandinavian, like Denmark? And then this conversation happened. Like, okay.
That all the
Yes.
upper management wears this. But that's a very cool concept.
They focus on a lot of individual growth. Like what I said, no, uncomfortable situation brings out the best in you. Something again I learned at Noma. Never is a person there in a section for more than 2 weeks. Because A, they don't want that person to get comfortable there. And B, they say they don't know what mistakes could occur if the same person is doing it. He'll get so perfect at it.
Perfect.
So we need to know what can go wrong.
Yeah, that's it. That, and then when you keep rotating, then everyone can take care of
Everything.
every section. So if one guy is not there, you have a replacement that has worked in
You're only as good as your weakest member in the team,
biggest
right?
member in it.
Same.
Very interesting.
So,
So Farmlore at 25, like head chef at 25, that's like
no, but the whole story before that, like you came back from Noma, and how did
Yeah, so
Farmlore?
Satyam was happening, and so I was working with this junior of mine called Avinash,
Okay.
who used to work with Nadodi in Malaysia. That's where Johnson was heading. He was the chef patron and co-founder of, not co-founder, chef patron of Nadodi.
Okay.
It's, I think it's in the Michelin Guide now. Malaysia, 1 Michelin, I think, if I'm not wrong. So there he was working, and Sri Charan, who was the chef de cuisine over there, who used to be my senior in college. So kind of a small world, yeah, something like that. That happened, and Johnson just got to know about me. So he was very, very particular that he wanted a female head chef. He thought that kind of gave a different dimension to the restaurant altogether, different perspective to see things. So he called me and he said, but he approached me for fermentation. He didn't approach me for head chef. Clever, I think. And he listens to this, he'll probably ask me, but yes. So he's like, I want you to be the head of fermentation. As soon as the fermentation, I didn't pick up a lot of fermentation in Noma. I'm a self-taught fermenter.
Okay.
Because you're not allowed to enter the fermentation lab unless you are hired as an intern for fermentation alone.
It is considered a separate unit, right?
Yeah, so I didn't know that.
It used to be on that
Left,
ship,
right outside, yes.
on the sea. The Noma fermentation lab was
To be
inside a.
But now in 2.0, it's like a separate room. As you walk in the pathway, the right side is a big room, like 2 walk-ins maintained in different temperatures because that's their base.
Correct. But did you get to work in the?
I
No
got to
exposure
enter the fermentation lab to take ethyl alcohol 99%, but that's when I peak and I see what happens.
Wow, because I was going to ask. I remember Toast used to do a lot of fermentation, which I hadn't done before joining Toast. So, like when I got promoted and started heading, Noma's fermentation book was the first one.
Thing is,
And it's a rabbit hole,
everybody
right?
wanted to have their.
So I was just going to ask, I had to go through the source material. I was expecting that you must have gotten a chance to, or you must have gotten into fermentation post-Noma.
Yes.
Post-Noma was,
No, fermentation triggered me to
okay,
apply
for
Noma.
Noma.
And then after Noma, it continued.
Okay.
When I was there, that's when the book was releasing. So they used to have 1,000 books getting signed every day. Like they used to see the Noma guide everywhere.
interesting.
True. And there's so much, like once you get into fermentation, it's crazy. I remember I ended up trying almost all the recipes and few of them really turned out shit. The bacteria matter,
Yes.
the fermented, and all things. I tried and then that just tasted like
And it's completely different from India as well, right? The humidity and the hydration is
Yes.
a lot of it.
Lot
The
of
bacteria, the temperature. When they say room temperature, India is not room temperature. Their room temperature is like 15 to 18
Their
degrees.
30-degree walk-in is our room temperature.
Temperature. True. But so
yeah,
head of fermentation was what you were approached.
Yeah.
And how did it turn into?
So I went, I said, so the only thing I had only 2 conditions if I had to join the team. I said, 1, you'll have to allow me to go for an internship at any given point of time. I would like to do at least 2 to 3 internships per year, irrespective of whether you pay me during that time or not. But I will come back. I promise I come back, but you need to let me do that. And it has to be a tasting menu restaurant where the menu is not the same. The only reason why I left Avartana is because it got monotonous after a point of time where I couldn't, even with just changing a flavor of a sorbet, it had to go through 10, 12 people.
There's a lot of
They need
bureaucracy
to
in hotel.
connect and say, okay, fine. They're not okay to fail.
got it.
Yeah, always on safe. So that's something that I can't do.
And how did the transition from having that head of fermentation head chef, how did that switch? Like the top when you had
So I told him, chef, I don't think I'm head chef material. Let me be sous chef. I like to be, even now, I think I love to be the sous chef. Like the drive in the kitchen. I feel more. When the sous chef name Head chef, even though you can be a head chef and have the attitude of a sous chef, that's what I strive to have every day. But I generally like to be the sous chef of the kitchen. Then I thought I was the perfect thing for sous chef. So I told him, like, no, I think you will grow into this. Just be the head chef. And it was just a team of 3. So we didn't know what we were coming in for also. And
There were 3 of you, right?
just 3 of us, yes. Johnson, myself, Avinash. Avinash worked in France then. Johnson used to head Narodi. He came back and I came back from Noma. That was just the 3 of us setting up.
And how long did that time period take? Because you said Avartana took 2.5 years.
3.5 to be honest. Like that.
Yeah, Farmlore was 3.
Farmlore was 3.
What was it? Oh, yeah, it was really like, what do you guys do? 3 years?
1 year, COVID, lower pop-ups, 2.5, 2.5 again, our Farmlore also, I don't think 3, because 3 years it's going to be with Farmlore now. And it's 5 years together. So yeah, 2.5 years. So just setting up the place, we had a test kitchen in Radisson because Kaushik, the investor, had Radisson in Adria. So was there, gave us a small space. So we just got our thermomix, Paco jet, started experimenting. Started calling in people for tasting. One of our first people who came and tasted our dishes, though it was not a pop-up, was Kavan. Kavan and Aditya Kidambe.
Okay.
Wow.
Stay.
They didn't know who we were. We just called them through Kaushik. Kaushik is from Bangalore, so he knows who are Bangalore types in the industry. Just call them, call different food influencers who are very organic. That's something that we believe from the day, from the beginning, that we need to call people who know their shit.
Correct. Who've been that.
Yeah, who didn't come for media or social media or anything like that. Just call people and we started doing pop-ups, selling 20 tickets once in 2 months. 20 tickets, put up a theme around it. They were pretty sure they wanted to do things around storytelling, which is very new to me. I focused more on the kitchen taste and getting that right. Storytelling was not my game. Slowly getting into it. So Johnson, Kaushik used to take care of that. So did like circle of life. So 8-course tasting menu of different stages of life where you connect that stage of life to a particular food.
Okay.
So school kid, cola, chips, things like that, but put a twist in the lower waves. That's what we used to do. And then grew into it. We didn't know what was happening, and we were going to get a restaurant called Lore in the center of the city. Just behind Radisson, there was a place. It was
pop-ups were happening in Radisson.
Yes.
At that time.
And we did one courtyard. The first pop-up was in courtyard. Akila and Kanishka were there.
Okay.
Yes. Pretty cool. So that happened, and we did have a couple of pop-ups in Hyderabad, Goa, Kochi.
Travel. Like going around to
And this was in 2021.
Yeah.
Like post-lockdown.
No. 20 to 21.
2020.
During lockdown, before lockdown. More pop-ups happened before lockdown.
Before lockdown.
Before lockdown. Yeah.
That Johnson ground, basically. That testing ground.
And R&D.
Yes.
And did he come to you with the concept when he came for head of fermentation? Did they have the whole
nothing.
Farmlore already?
Nothing. So Farmlore was not even in the picture.
Okay.
Only Lore was in the picture to do something very, very... of course, creating an experience through storytelling was something that we knew what we were going to do. But so like I said, we're going to get something called Lore. So the concept of the restaurant storytelling, it was going to be called Lore.
When did the farm get added to?
So then COVID hit. And it was a 45-cover restaurant, an investment of about 10 to 15 crores. Didn't know if it will work out. So just backed out. We all went to Chennai. COVID hit, we all went to Chennai.
So all
after that, getting paid, all 3 of us are from Chennai.
Wow, what are you on?
Yes, all 3 of us from Chennai. We took the car, chef dropped me, dropped Avinash, went home. That's how it was. Of course, we're getting paid through lockdown, but didn't know if the restaurant was going to come. What is the scene? Worked for 2.5 years in this project. Not seeing anything. So all these questions.
And you guys have put in the money and everything in terms of the place.
Construction has started, but not full-fledged.
Okay.
The architect was coming from Italy. He also got stuck there. The friend of Kaushik. So everything got...
just stagnant.
Yes. 3 months was in Chennai. Just worked on social media to just keep it running. Just see how it transforms, where it gets into. We knew that if not for a restaurant, we'll still start doing this pop-up thing.
More in which you've done.
Yeah, and then we'll see where it goes.
Correct.
Had decisions like saying, do I want to quit? All that came in. That like conversation with Johnson saying there's not going anywhere. I think I don't know where I'm going to. I don't want to after 4 years know that nothing happened.
Yeah.
Things like that. And plan B was to open something in the farm, always to the behind of Kaushik. Right?
Always had plan B.
For Kaushik, not for us.
So the farm is owned by Kaushik.
Yes. So we're getting a lot of produce during the pop-up also from there.
Okay.
So I said, let's start something
Which
small, something
It's
rustic.
amazing, right? Which
Yeah.
just completely changes your...
Exactly.
Now you have an ingredient and you have to go backwards and make a
Correct.
dish with it. I think that is a fun way of coming up with menus as
So the
well.
restaurant was built around the farm rather than saying, hey, I want to have a restaurant and then get a farm. So it was the other way around.
Other way around.
Very interesting.
So we went to the farm. After we came back from lockdown, we started traveling to the farm. Till then, I never see the farm. We just started going to the farm. Pretty almost 50 kilometers from the city center. So it takes quite a while. So I started going there and working from there, creating dishes. Just sit in the farm only. There's nothing there. Literally, just a mango and coconut grove. That's all. Sitting there, seeing these cows, dogs, and everything, and creating dishes, eat nicely, order something, sleep under the mango tree. Literally, this used to be what we were doing there.
Yeah.
And then they said, let's do something rustic in the farm, chef. We all said okay because we just wanted our space. Just okay to agreeing to anything.
Now give us a kitchen.
Yeah, just give us a kitchen. So started building, and we figured that all three of us came from fine dine backgrounds. It is not easy to go the other way around. So I said, let's stitch both and see where it came from. Made sense to use wood fire because it is in abundance there. And Kaushik Hints, he also owns Atria Power. He said, let's do a prototype restaurant of having only solar panels. So the entire restaurant runs only by solar panels.
Wow, what?
We generate enough electricity to support us.
Really?
Yeah.
How many solar panels is that?
The complete roof. Full roof will just solar panels. Yes.
So no electricity bill technically.
No.
Even with kitchen,
No gas or
everything.
everything.
That is a lot of scary, right?
He'll give some back to the grid, of course.
Yeah.
Now we're expanding, so probably not. But as of now, we're self-sustaining.
Expanding as in like increasing the restaurant size?
So we're getting a different kind of experience that we are looking at called Omniscience by Lore.
Okay.
Something that caters to groups because we get a lot of people who want to book out the entire space and it's not meant for groups. If you see that it's individual tables, more for 2 people to 4.
But then constructing, like, was it just a farm? There was no building? There was nothing.
Nothing.
So it was built from scratch?
Yes, built from scratch.
And how much time did that take?
Took 1.5 years.
The construction part?
Then the second wave hit. We started, in another 6 months, second wave hit.
That was a weird time for like the industry.
Very.
No idea what route to take and what decisions to make.
Yes.
Those 2 years, I thought I'll go and get international exposure. And then I was just happy I had a job by the end. So I was like, okay, let's go back to toast. And
so what goes into building a restaurant like Farmlore? From your takeaways, like?
So I think something that worked out very well for us was the pop-up thing that we did. People kind of got to know us before we even had a restaurant. So even till date, we don't have a marketing or a PR for the restaurant itself. It's only our social media and word of mouth, and
which is major respect.
Yes.
I think if you can...
And we mean for everything. Literally, you need to at
How
least...
many covers is Farm?
18.
18.
Yes, 18. 6 in the chef's table. 12 of us still facing us. So again, we wanted Farmlore to be an entire chef's dining concept. But during COVID and social distancing norm, we didn't know how much it will work out. So for this thing, we got the chef's table, and but the rest of the seating in the restaurant still faces us. So it's like a stage. It's set up in that way. So I think we're always something that we believe at Farmlore. It's going to be a people-driven place. Everybody needs to make a difference, even though they're there or not. It needs to. They make a lot of difference. So I always say Farmlore is a people place. And it's a very creative space. We see it more as an institute than as a restaurant because there's a lot to learn.
So do you motivate and encourage the young chefs to try more things, come up with ideas?
There's a program in which we train our staff too. So like
how long is the training period?
Training period, we like them to give us at least 2 years.
2 years of
2 years. But our internship program also is 3 to 6 months. That also has a different programming altogether as into how we like to take.
Is it a paid intern?
Yes, it's a paid internship. Yes, it's a we've increased our stipend too, but it's a paid internship, yes. So how we like to train people at the restaurant is we eventually want all of them to be entrepreneurs. So we work on every section of the restaurant. So including from me to Johnson, from FOH to wine service to being an intern to dishwashing. Everybody's part of everything.
So something did you pick up from Noma? Because you had mentioned...
A little bit, yes.
Yeah.
A little bit, yes. But I think 3 of us gotten our own contributions towards it and put up together.
So a kitchen person has to go and do cross exposure in
FOH. Yes.
And
You'll be put on the
right?
spot. You never know where you'll be put on the
Don't
spot.
you think it slows down when someone's moved out of a different thing and tries a new different department?
I think it's very, even in Oberoi, when you
Okay, I feel we do lose out on that level of precision
Correct.
sometimes, because not everybody might be made for service or can carry themselves
Correct.
well on the floor, but that's okay
It's okay.
because that
how
team
long is
such
this
a
cross exposure?
days to weeks depends.
Days to, like in Oberoi, when you would join, I joined kitchen. So they would, before you entered the kitchen, they would make you do 1.5 months of service. Because they are sister departments and you have to realize how the guest is reacting.
Exactly.
How the inside of the restaurant works so that you can align it with the correct kitchen rhythm. So,
So usually first week too, you're right. First
Mm.
1 to 2 weeks is again service only. We start with service and then move to kitchen.
Understanding customers is the first primary thing.
Yes.
because that's the whole game. I think after the food, the customer is the most important.
But that kind of contradicts what we had discussed earlier, right? When you had mentioned that you want to build Farmlore for chef-centric stuff.
Yeah, so exactly. I was going to say, we like the fact that also training everybody in every department builds a confidence in them to run a
Work.
place, irrespectively. Even if you put in a different kind of a place on service suddenly, you need to know where to pick up.
Yeah.
Also, then they can notice the mistakes if the other department isn't.
Yes.
If kitchen is lacking, I think they can tell you that this is what is happening. And also the conversation that you were having with Chef Arvin, which they were talking about Lawan, they also have the same ideology.
Okay.
That apart from teaching you how to make it, they also teach you how to sell it,
Exactly.
which is the important part.
Teach a man how to fish,
Yeah.
just catch a fish,
No,
right?
And also how to sell that fish.
Yes.
So I think that's a great.
Would you consider Farmlore a collaborative environment, considering you take inputs from people in a lower hierarchy, like let's say from a
We call it a flat hierarchy only. Most
flat hierarchy more?
Yeah, of course, Chef Pateman, head chef, makes a few decisions which we are there for, but we consider it a flat hierarchy.
So anyone can throw in inputs and it's considered.
Yes. We like to work with everybody. From our dishwashers, to honestly, last week dishwasher came and cooked something. Just said, I want pork belly and these ingredients. He gave me a list. Said, I want to cook. He cooked.
What?
And then he came in the next day and said, Chef, can I be a kitchen? Can I join your kitchen? That's what he did. That's what he
That
did.
is the best way to do.
And I was very impressed. I mean, I've still not put his idea to Johnson, but I'm going to ask him. But I was very impressed the fact that he had that confidence to come and say that.
It took the initiative out of all the things.
Exactly.
And then that's how, at least outside the kitchens ran, right?
Yes.
You had to start with the dishwasher. If you
Exactly.
get through that,
What do you guys think about that? Do you think a person who's trained to be in the kitchen department, should they start as a dishwasher?
There's a lot of difference in how you move the kitchen.
How? What difference?
How you move your attitude.
of course, your attitude, understanding, like the general rhythm of how much goes into apart from the food part. And I think you get a lot of time to observe when you start a dishwash, rather than straight jumping into the kitchen. And then there is that feeling of, oh, I earned it, rather than that I got an opportunity and you were sometimes
You earned it, no?
Yeah,
You try to be the best. Yes.
yeah, that's there. And I think I think you grow more as a chef when you roll through the
The ladder.
ladder up, and you sort of, then you also understand what every position has to focus on and what their KRAs are. If you've never been a civilian, then you don't really know what the job of a CP exactly is and what to delegate to them and how much to delegate to them. So coming up the ladder that way is
So grunt work and like dishwashing usually helps building character or skill. What's one main thing?
I think
Character more like
skill. I think it helps you now if your dishwasher is off to know exactly how to go. And which all of us must have done. You have to mop the
you guys have clean.
It's there, you're short staff, and
Even now,
and you can't just stand there and wait like somebody please clean this pan.
Kitchen never works like that.
Oh yeah, interesting.
And I think that way is very few chefs would have that much ego that where they won't, if the service is falling and if you need to wash the dishes, they will refuse to wash them.
They'll go for it.
It's pretty much whatever goes in service and whatever you have to do at that point.
It's dropping your egos at the right time is the key.
I don't think, like when it comes to, the ego is so that you have a smooth service.
Yes.
Smooth operation.
Yes.
So if for a smooth operation, if it calls for you to do mundane shit, then you do that one. And with a lot of heart, to be honest. I don't think that's when ego comes in.
Yes.
So that's that. But talking about work culture, I think Noma's overall exposure must have given you,
Changed a lot of the way I looked at restaurants.
especially coming from hotels.
Yes, it was, culture shock for me little bit. I went there first 2 weeks, but then I figured that I liked the
How did you, like you said, it's a very people-centric place, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
Like, are there any cool philosophies that you guys apply in the Farmlore kitchen, which
yeah, work-life balance.
cross? Is that
Yes.
two day off?
Yeah, Mondays and Tuesdays,
Doing, right?
yes,
I've never had
a 2 day.
worked in a kitchen where it was 2 days off, and which I think is more required in hospitality than corporate.
Definitely.
Because one day just goes in actually coping up and
Yeah.
relaxing,
Just sleep.
and then the next day is when you get time to do your
Whatever you want to do.
But that comes the argument that all restaurants can't afford that same thing, right? Because people push that 6 day thing because they have targets to meet or they have numbers to meet. Unless you're moving out in a sold out capacity, the hype was there, we're able to plan it out, like what Naru does, for example, or what Farmlore does. So how do you think you can,
If it's a creative space, I think that break is required.
for creatives?
If it's a creative restaurant, a creative space where you're constantly challenging yourself to push beyond boundaries, I think that break makes a lot of difference.
Lot of difference. And how often does the creative playing the role? Because that comes with menu changes, right? Yes. So how often does that happen in a cycle? Like,
So with the restaurant, since like we said, we always wanted to change the menu. It started off by changing our 10 course and 5 course every week.
every week?
Yeah, we did 82 menus of separate lunch menu and separate dinner menu for the first 1 year, one and a half years. And then it came to a point where we said, okay, let's slow down a little bit, guys. Let's focus on a little bit more of accuracy also. Because we're working for crazy long hours for that 5 hours, for the 5 days.
5 days.
And we used to change like that.
Hmm.
Then we started doing the 10 course every month and the 5 course still changes every week.
Was it a customer problem that you're changing? Because when a customer comes first, they're like, hey, I want the same menu again. And no, that's not an issue at all.
60-70% of Farmlore's guests are repeats.
Cool.
And they come in because they know they're getting a different experience.
Oh, wow. That's an interesting stat.
And I think customers have started enjoying that.
Yes.
Like, they want, because they've come to Farmlore and had a good meal. Now they know that, okay, I like the food that they're cooking, and it changes every week. So now you have a spot in your head that is giving you fresh food, and you have the confidence in them that they cook good food. Even with Gorilla, that's what I realized. The repeat customers were happy with the fact that I was not repeating my
Yes.
dishes, because they get to try like a new dish every week, and they don't have to worry about that. Now I have to go and find a restaurant that I trust, that I can figure out
things
to order this particular thing.
And training.
The restaurant space should be more than just food or anything like that. It's about the people, the experience, how you make them feel through the entire experience. Makes a lot of difference. But somebody mentioned yesterday, like one of the guests who'd been over 65 times at the restaurant.
What?
Yes. Since we opened till now, she's been there.
So lately,
So she works for the German embassy. Now she's moving to Poland next month. So yesterday was her last meal. She cried. And she said, if restaurant is not about the food, it is about the people, it is about the vibe, everything about the restaurant and why we come here for it is not just for the food.
No, just for the food.
Yeah,
Which is a great compliment.
exactly. Yeah. So it's great that we build family. It's more than just the restaurant and the food, right?
And people are willing to pay higher for an experience like that compared to just the food, right?
Yeah, price has never been a thing with food cost or with guests, with money. Money never been a thing with Farmlore till now.
just
Never a conversation.
Never a con.
Never a conversation.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
that's a great thing to have for a restaurant.
I think honestly, even now, I feel like every day is a new day. There's not one day, touch wood, till now, I felt like I want to go to the restaurant today. Don't know what is going to get thrown at me. What am I going to get challenged?
But that usually comes with mundane, when it becomes a rut, right? That's when you're
Yes.
like, okay, I don't want to
Yes.
get up and do this again. So that way, like, you're constantly changing and evolving.
Meeting new people, guests, having conversation. But though it's a fine time, we like to have our service a little more chilled out. It's not a very strict service.
But usually in fine dining, you see like such a strict kitchen, right? Like all the movies will come out, menu burnt, and you're saying the
Kitchen is strict only. Service is not strict.
service is
Those movies are really glorified, to be honest.
Yeah, a little bit.
little bit glorified.
Little bit, yes.
Menu was very completely psycho take on a chef, which can happen, agree. But convincing your team to do it with you, part. The chef can be a psycho, but to convince the whole team
Correct.
to fucking do this is there. And Bond was also a little too glorified. Like, not every chef has like fancy drug dealers that are
Exactly.
chasing them off.
Honestly, yeah.
Hot model girlfriend. We all wish, but it's not the reality. That's why Bear is working out with
Yeah, because actually,
non-kitchen people, because it's a very real take, which is not
you can
unnecessary.
relate. Where totally, yes. I've not
like
seen
as
this
real as it can
season.
get.
Yeah.
Their references, their setup, the overall storyline is very much around a real kitchen person and what goes around.
So what do you think is an unpopular opinion when it comes to like kitchen's work culture that people don't usually have a take once they join? Super unpopular opinion according to you.
Unpopular opinion, tell me again.
Like something which people don't usually agree on when they come to kitchen. They have this preconceived notion, and then you have something which kind of contradicts, and you have to explain that specific.
This recent thing that we spoke about, I don't know if this answers your question. Mental pressure and long work hours.
Hmm.
Is something that people want to change how kitchen works. I don't think it should work like that.
Why?
I don't know about the take on long hours. I personally am a person who would like to give in that much time in a restaurant on a day-to-day basis, also on a longer run. I'm not a person who believes that you can pick up everything in a short period of time. That's something that I see in a lot of chefs these days. They say they can pick up from a restaurant in 6 months.
That's not possible.
I don't think it's possible.
You just know maybe the surface level.
Also saying that maybe you didn't click with that restaurant, then it's not your space. Then then you have to change. But if you do, I think you should give in at least a year to 2 to get something and give something back.
But seeing someone in a restaurant for 2 years is once in a blue moon almost. And we hardly see people stick along in a
when we are max.
That team is there with the current generation more.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're sort of figuring it out after they join the industry, whether they want to be in it. Now there are so many other angles to go about it as well.
Correct.
It doesn't just have to be food. But I agree on the long hours part. I think as you grow up the ladder, then it makes even more sense to do those long
hours.
Because even if tomorrow they say that you just have to do 7 hours and you can go home, you won't feel right leaving mid-service.
I don't know why kitchen gives that guilt.
feel that
I don't know. I'm sure he'll agree with me.
Completely.
When there's less cover, Chef Johnson says, go home, can't. I just can't end the day like that.
I tried doing Sunday evenings off, and like, I think I did it once. And in that, you're just like, if any screw up happens, you could have avoided it. It was there. So that sort of guilt is constantly there.
So on the long working hours, does it do a passion play? Like, because can we assume that people who are passionate enough and tend to stay longer than people who are not passionate and just in it for the money tend to like want to leave? Is that an easy assumption to make?
Don't see it as work. If you see it as work, then for me, hours count.
Hours count, right?
Yeah.
And do you think paying by hour can change that? Because now they get a fixed salary, there's no OT. Can adding that culture, because probably Noma, they had OT, they had paper hour culture, which is not kind of prominent in the
I don't think paper hour can instant passion in you if you don't want to do longer hours. The per hour is not that much that it will really motivate them to keep doing.
Yeah.
And somebody who doesn't want to work for long hours, honestly, wouldn't, irrespective of. I can understand a lot of people joining and wanting to do 7 hours or 10-hour shift. But honestly, in a kitchen, that doesn't apply. There are so many, from Nisa to setting up to execution. A lot of times you want the same person to be doing
end-to-end
for consistency. Morning shift and afternoon shifts can happen. I think that's why breaks are the best choice, especially in standalone restaurants, because we just have lunch and dinner. Hotels have night shift and breakfast shift because they have 4 services to
correct.
Hotels, I think restaurants breaks work is because there is consistency in the same person leading a department and doing the dishes.
Can a restaurant split shifts? Is it affordable still? Like have let's say 6 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, 7 hours to rotate?
9 hours, 9 hours.
Yeah. Would that be possible still? 9 hours still? Like 3 or 5?
I think a good kitchen shift is 10 hours.
Yeah.
And should be minimum 10 hours.
Minimum 10 hours, yeah.
Like if you really want to do 8, 9 hours, there are other industries, right?
So 10 hours is the norm. Minimum.
Should be a norm. Minimum
is 10. Yes.
Minimum is
12 is good, actually.
12 is what I think when she joined the industry, when I joined the industry, 12 was.
Still for us here now, it's 12 to 13 hours shift and pub.
Wow.
Yes.
So how does your day look like? If it's a 12-hour shift, what's the work?
Wake up, get
Go
ready, go to work.
That's all.
You come back when
Sleep.
the kitchen
And sleep.
Sleep. That's all.
and if you have a guy
Going-
around, usually that's why kitchen people are only friends with like kitchen out. Only one's free at
At
that.
that time, yeah.
True. And hence all the substance abuse issues and everything as well.
Is that common in the culture, substance abuse, like within the cooking community?
Not in India as much as it is abroad with a lot, like especially UK and stuff. But alcohol also is big in India. And not just kitchen, just F&B, front of the house, anywhere where you're putting in long hours and you don't have a social life, you need some catalyst to go and enjoy
Exactly.
those 2 hours at night where nobody is around you. So that's where I think the substance abuse part comes in. And it's also, I think, the general pressure. It's a coping up mechanism.
Mechanism.
There's a lot of pressure. Correct.
And you need some, like, I don't, the people talk about how it should not be like this. And everyone has their vices. Everyone has their coping up mechanism. If jogging works for you and eating, that can also be this thing. But I don't think, unless and until it's a major, if you're an alcoholic and your liver is getting screwed, then definitely. Or if you're a chain smoker, you're seeing the signs. But I think it's okay. Like every job needs some coconut with that.
So on that note, do you think mental health plays a huge role for both of you guys? Like, what's your take on mental health?
Every the kitchen.
Exists.
No. I don't know how to put my head around when people say I'm not mentally fit to work in the kitchen. I don't understand.
Is that a new generation thing, or have you seen
Little
it?
bit, I feel.
It's a new generation.
Maybe we are the toxic one saying, but that is completely our opinion. It's not what the industry standard should be. But I think mental health, is a very difficult conversation to have in the kitchen because the pressures are so high and the physical load is so much. And then there is
Honestly, this momentary. You should not think beyond that moment.
Correct.
and that's
It's
why I
very
say
personal.
Just draw a line
It's
around it.
nothing personal. That moment,
the moment
everybody
service
reacts
ends,
differently. Yeah. Just laughing about something normal. The person who actually yelled might not even remember what he told.
Correct. Just at the heat of
Mike
the
said it.
It was
You
just
can't really take
that
it to-
spot. Yeah, exactly.
That was the first thing that, like, they mentioned when we joined Oberoi as well, is that once the service ends, that whole day is ended. You don't have to carry grudges post the service.
Tough day
So
was
personal and professional, there has to be a proper line.
Major problem line. And the kitchen, the chef can be shouting at you like 10 minutes before the service ends, and 10 minutes later you'll be standing smoking a cigarette together,
Yeah.
joking about it. And you have to take it in that way. If you take it personally, then it's affecting you post work, and you already have worked most of the day.
Yeah.
So you don't really have to carry that back.
So you think adding a therapist would help? Like having a therapist talk people through?
I
Because
think the therapist is going to get mad. She has a whole kitchen thing on her schedule. She's going to be talking to some very random people like we were discussing. I don't think you are like a completely normal social person doesn't usually stick to hospitality for too long because of all these factors, no social life, no working hours.
so you should have some problems.
we have a big note in the kitchen door once as you enter from the kitchen to the guest decks. Tough day was yesterday.
That's a real big one.
Where you have to kick through that door to go out. Tough day was yesterday.
That's pretty cool. That's reminding people like, hey,
Yeah.
it's past. That's cool.
Yeah, and some industries are a little hardcore. Now, if we start talking about mental health and physical labor for mining workers or these hard, so it doesn't apply in every. You can't apply the corporate logic into kitchen and suddenly be like, why isn't this a utopian industry? It should be, and if everyone figures out how to make it sustainable, it would already be there. But there's been so much positive change over the years,
Over the years.
and overall working culture changing. It doesn't really have to be perfect. Now the generation, I won't even say the generation, world in general has gone towards why aren't things perfect, which was never the
Yes.
before, right? We all knew that it
I
was
don't think
screwed
it
up.
needs to be either.
It needs to be. That's
Yeah.
a creative outlet on its own, right?
Also, it's a very personal thing. Everyone runs their kitchen differently.
Differently.
Somebody is really focusing on mental health and work-life balance. Others are working because they're short-staffed. They're more focused on doing creative stuff and spending their time on R&D. So I don't think you can apply like a certain standard. 2 weeks off, yes. If a restaurant can 2 days off in a week, if a restaurant can afford that, I think that should be an industry norm.
Yes.
But a lot of restaurants can't.
Can't afford that.
Right? That means your kitchen is shut for 2 days. That means you're losing out on revenue that you would have
Yes.
done. So not every kitchen can or every restaurant can do that.
Priority of business or what it is at the restaurant, yes.
So I think restaurants should be more centric towards the people or the business.
Balance.
It's hard to always strike a balance between a business interest and a person interest, right? Because always contradicts.
But if you get it right, I feel it can be a great balance. Like I said, we don't make money at the restaurant, but I know for the fact that we're doing pretty well.
And making people happy at the same time.
Exactly.
Well, which is a motivation for others also, right?
Exactly.
You know, if they can do it, then so can we.
Yes.
And that's
a new standard.
stars. Yeah.
Pretty.
But like, how do the 2 days that staff is off, the restaurant's closed?
So, yeah. Nobody's in the restaurant.
No prep, nothing's
So
happening.
only Wednesday to Sunday.
Yes, Wednesday to Chennai. And we also get a seasonal break for every once in 3 months. About 10 to 15 days where the team is expected to travel. If you travel and if you get something, well and good. Which most of us do.
But that's for R&D purpose or just like to relax?
No, it's for relaxation. But some of us take it as an R&D
R&D, yeah. True. So how do you go about, making these menus, these weekly menus at any time? What is the research process? Is it, how much? Because there were 3 of you when it started.
Yes, now it's 2 of us.
So it is difference of opinions. Everyone has their own way of doing it. So was it difficult in the starting to get into that rhythm of
Definitely.
how do we bring all 3 of us?
Even now, all 3 of our styles are very different. Now it's 2. 3 of our styles are very different. But we figured that as it went on doing trials, the cuisine of the restaurant by itself, we didn't have a cuisine. Still don't have a cuisine. We work on flavors and seasons and seasonality. We call our kitchen as intuitive cooking. We like the fact that each of our chefs, from a line cook to CDP to the head chef, in respect of making a sauce to a component, bring their identity out in even with as simple as seasoning.
Well, yeah.
How each of us season a little bit differently and it changes how the flavors are coming out of the dish. We like the fact that it's done that way. We don't have SOPs, we don't have measurements, we don't
to follow.
nothing.
But how do you get all 3 different opinions on the same page? Isn't that
So when you see the menu, you'll kind of, if you've been long enough at Farmlore as a guest, you kind of know who has bought in what dish.
interesting?
It will show on the menu. Some things will be very wacky and very funky in terms of flavor combination. That's something that Johnson will bring. Something very hearty, straightforward, slightly technique driven, but banger on umami or taste will come from me.
Got it.
Avinash will be somewhere like too crazy. You'll be like, dude, what is this? What am I eating? Let's bring in. So we usually keep the minimum to 2 dishes with Avinash because he's so very crazy. Johnson takes about 30% and I like the entire meal. Of course, we 3 of us something and we commonly believe the taste is everything. It needs to taste good.
Right?
Yes.
It's not like one dish, all 3 are working.
Wow. We divide dishes.
That's what
Even when we bring
has
it,
been crazy.
brainstorming every week at Sunday, 5 o'clock, we sit down, 4:30 we sit down. It goes on the entire evening of Sunday, where each of us have to bring in things depending on what's growing in the farm. So we have to go around the farm, see what the farmers are growing, and then we work the other way around. We don't tell them what we want. They tell us what they have and we work around it. Yes. And what we like to eat during the season, coming from our travel experiences, each of us can relate the season to different things in terms of nostalgia, in terms of what at the moment you want to eat, what you've seen somebody eating. So everything plays a part in how you bring the dish forward. And then we see the balance of the menu. We pick dishes, we put it, we see. We don't do a lot of trials. We don't do a lot of trials because changing is that often. Trials doesn't come in, it's not that easy. So certain flavors we know will work well. And I would say the restaurant, the menu evolves over the month.
Yeah,
It's not banger on first day. On day 4, it will be banger.
Because you're doing
what works out when I'm plating the dish. Oh, this is not feasible for our restaurant. This cannot be done a la minute.
This is
So this yes.
So this comes back to the intuitive cooking aspect of
Exactly.
things. That's pretty cool. Not a lot of restaurants practice that because coming back, they want it perfect. It's preset SOPs. List is out, otherwise the customer is
Sometimes the
unhappy.
dish might not be the best at all for the first 3 days. It will be too experimental to put out. We know the fact that we want to be that experimental, but it might not be that experimental that it's accepted well.
But are guests on board with this? Like, what is the reaction when you do
A little bit.
crazy dishes?
A little bit, yes.
They are.
Well, it's about, I would say 30% of our guests love it.
Mhm.
70% of our guests grow into it.
what's the conversation like with them? Like when you're explaining the dish, how does it usually?
Interesting. They say interesting, that means they say okay.
You guys are explaining every dish.
Yeah, it's an entire chef. So we go to the table. Only the chefs serve. The chefs clear kind of thing. We have a sommelier in house because we realized after some time that wine and food is a match made in heaven, and we need to have a great person who does that. Of course, the chef can do it unless the chef is a trained sommelier. A sommelier makes a lot of difference in a restaurant like this.
100%.
The pairings, actually.
Yes. We like to
So
keep our wines also a little funky. We like to change it as per our menu. So that
do you guys also have natural wines?
no, we are working on it. We're working on it, not as of yet.
Got it.
Because that's become a heavy trend.
Yes,
Right.
yes, exactly.
From having French and all these old wines, now drinking natural wines has become something doesn't have sulfate.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
completely different. And you said what grows together as well, your parents.
Goes together.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's pretty cool. Like honestly, that thinking, they haven't gone back.
What was the initial reaction when you started serving wines? So that was experimental, right? But it is
Yes,
well.
started off with Johnson only. So once Noma happened, I used to go around the farm and I used to see these ants. So chef used to say, put jaggery around the tree, the ants will come. And then I noticed these ant nests, and then reading about it, it's more prevalent in tropical climates. Grows only on these trees. Started reading, and we harvested one just to see. Did trials on ants. Did about 6-7 dishes. I did it, and then gave it to Chef Johnson. First reaction was like, no, I don't want to serve ants for the restaurant. Said okay. Just kept quiet. I don't know. I think I just planted the seed. After 2 days, he came and said, let's put it on the menu and see next week how the perception is. Heavy non-meat eaters, like I don't want to eat ants. My head, I'm thinking you eat lamb, mutton, pork, everything. Big animal, you have fun. And
Once more.
mom used to say, yeah, eat ants, good for eyes. By mistake, if it's in milk or something like that.
Just drink it off. Yeah.
Yeah, so I used to tell guests, eat good for your eyes. And then we started working on how ants can be done in different way, where to harvest it from, how it made a difference, and how the dish turned out to be. And like I was mentioning, the recent technique that we cracked was ant eggs, was the culture for how it milk turned into yogurt naturally.
Wow.
This random fermenter from across the globe had put it. One of our CDPs who works very closely with me on fermentation, he and I have been working on fermentation since restaurant opened. He came and he showed me the post, and then he said, okay, every time we throw these eggs, let's go harvest and do a trial. Next day turned out to be
So literal ant eggs and milk causes yogurt.
yes,
Different.
Like you put these stems,
exactly. Ginger.
ginger.
Is there a flavor change compared to the traditional method?
It does taste a little different. I would say a little more woody.
Okay.
If I put unripened chiku in milk, how it would taste. A
Correct.
little bit. If you want to relate to flavor notes, that's what I related. The citrus part kind of went away. The yogurt citrus came in, but the ant citrus wasn't there. It tasted more woody and earthy. But otherwise, yeah,
The eggs also, that's it. Flavor must
it's not there.
right there.
Yeah, exactly.
And ants are what flavor usually? Like, how do you define the flavor of an ant? Like, is it consistent or
Citrus.
These are red ants, right?
Red ants.
Only red ants.
Fire
that
ants.
You use fire ants for this. And do they pick up the flavor of the area they're eating?
Yes,
stuff in?
yes.
So like citrus
Definitely.
is there.
Lemon is my favorite.
Mhm.
Mango gives a slight herbaceous note. When you smell a very tender mango leaf, you get that flavor, right? You have a hand, that's the flavor that you get on a mango. Jamun, honestly, okay. Not the least of my favorites.
But wait, what's the
In case I don't find ants on both these trees, then jamun is my last resort. Because it still has, but doesn't show great on citrus. More on the texture
flavor tone?
of jamun. Blackberry.
Blackberry.
Very mild. Very mild.
Mild berry. But that's amazing.
Very tannic,
Great
actually, I would say.
Yeah.
The ant is slightly tannic.
And how many ants do you need to actually taste the flavor? It's quite small, right? Like
Yeah, so if it's about 4 to 5.
4 to 5 ants, does it
But
put?
now is everyone on board, or do you still get guests who are like
Once in a year.
once in a
Or be,
Does someone come and say, hey, avoid the ants on the...
yeah, can you just remove these and give? I'll just look at them, just smile, and I just walk. That's all. I'll not go back to the table till the next course. Either eat that, you don't need that. This is the
Are you doing
experience.
fancy stuff like Dom and all were doing, dipping in gold and
No, no. No, not at all.
and
That's pretty cool.
is it fried?
It's either frozen
Hmm?
or it's dehydrated,
Dehydrated.
crispy. Yeah.
Don't ants crumble when it's dehydrated almost? Like,
Keep it, store it properly.
Oh,
Or
use
is
tweezer.
We have people with tubs because their back will get fucked otherwise because it's a lot of detailed work. No?
Yeah.
Tubs standing, working on ants, separating eggs, separating.
And how many ants do you guys go through on average every week?
I don't know.
How quick is the harvest?
The harvest very actually. We have a garbage bag ready. Cut the nest, directly goes into the bag, tie, freezer. Once it hibernates, it's not completely dead, hibernates. When it's properly frozen, we remove it, we separate it immediately into the dehydrator or into the freezer again.
Got it.
Then it goes
How regularly are you doing this? Harvesting the
twice a week.
Twice a week.
Twice a week. We do it for once in 2 services so that the citrus part remains quite fresh and
So these are ground ants or tree ants?
tree ants
Tree ants.
Tree.
That's important. That plays a role
on the branches.
on the
This
branches.
is- I can't sort of figure out what a.
Yeah.
Because we have those colonies that you see.
Yeah, I've seen also Amazon sells these plastic things where
Proper, like how you have a spider web, right?
correct.
See the entire nest, the bigger the nest, more eggs, lesser ants.
Hmm.
The smaller the nest, more ants.
So do you guys
That-
take care of the eggs? Is there something they do when they're harvesting salmon, right? They're trying to maintain that growth, they send it back again. So is that something you maintain?
Not as
Just said.
not gone to that level, but can think about it.
That's pretty interesting.
Actually, yes,
We keep the eggs back so that
yes.
they're constant. So but if you're killing the parents, how do?
Out of it. Something I have to think about it. But yeah,
Any other coffee ingredient that you have in mind but haven't used yet or really want to use?
bitter gourd. I know it's a very simple, but no matter how much you try to put it on the menu, it doesn't like.
Because it's Karela everywhere.
Yeah,
I mean, better unless it's dry.
correct. Like even the creative process, the R&D team still like we all of us 2 different teams they split into when it comes to certain vegetables and ingredients. Like no, and fine time. Yes, whatever is yes. So that is one ingredient I want to crack in farm.
It's the hardest to open, but
I want to I just want to put it on the menu no matter what.
In some form.
I've done it. I've done it.
Yeah.
And then within 2-3 days, because of multiple reactions and not sitting right way, then we'll have to probably remove it off the menu or something like that happens. Yeah, I hope we get to a place where people know it's that experimental, that they come with an open mind. It's still there. A lot has improved. I would say we are about 90% there. We'll get to a point where we can do anything and people will be okay with it. I hope we get there. So,
But Indians usually have the notion of like chef as being a cook, and they don't usually approach the chef on that note. If they have to give you feedback or criticism, who do they talk to? Or
started off by always looking for people with coat and suit or somebody, in this case, a sommelier or a beverage person who handles it. But it's changed. That also has
changes.
because we go to the table constantly. When we started off as a restaurant, we're little very, very chef driven to an extent that we didn't take our feedbacks very well. I should say that very openly. We also grew, we evolved over time with our guests and how we've come far now to understanding that hospitality is beyond how much you just feel as a chef and having that energy,
Yeah,
At the end, they don't care you're a chef or not. They need to feel good.
correct.
They need to be happy. They need to have like the experience for them to come back and share it with you. So that's something that we realized over time, and we have taken that route, which took us some time. But yeah, now I think 90% of our guests talk to us.
Talk to you guys.
10%, okay, that's okay.
Yeah, that happens always.
Don't know who we're serving, or give
Also, they must be intimate. A lot of them
exactly.
haven't had it.
Even with the chef's table, like when we started off, nobody wanted to sit at the chef's table. They used to call it the bar. I don't want the bar. I don't want the chef's table. Now people fight for the chef's table. And it's first come, first serve. We never reserve the chef's table for anybody.
Interesting.
You come in early, you pick up the seats. So, like sometimes prep is happening, 5 o'clock guest is walking and I'm like, no, my God, 1.5 hours to serve. I don't want to feel the tension of a guest walking in. But he's there. I'm reserving the chef's table there. I need to go for a walk.
Go for a walk.
Yeah,
That's
so
pretty
it's come
cool.
to a point where they want.
A lot of interaction have you built?
So we do give a farm tour, but not to an extent of Noma. We have our own organic farming practices that we show them. Our hydroponics, which is something that we, it's called hydroload, again by Farmlore. So we're experimenting, and we also set up hydroponics in residential areas for people who, if they want to grow up.
So interesting.
That's something as a side thing that we're growing. And in that, about 50% caters to Farmlore with different produce that is not usually suitable for the soil. A little of exotic items coming from this.
Property, right?
Yes,
This is the
37 acres.
37 acres.
Wow.
It's beautiful though. You come in the night, you just see one place having lights and the smoke coming out of on the top. Wow. Fire. Like the feeling to just see the restaurant, not because I'm the head chef, is very like nice.
Different. I mean, that,
You
those
feel
kind of
outside
concepts you
the
don't
country,
see.
outside the city.
Outside the city. But I was gonna ask that initially, like, how much time did it get, or was it an issue that you guys were a little far from the central city? Still get people, especially in the starting days, to come and
Well, now a little bit, we like a lot of people who have not been very often, especially from the industry. We like more people from the industry to come in and experience what we're doing. Yes,
because they are
exactly.
they get free and then coming with, because I've been meaning to come to farm for a very long time, but then the issue becomes is on a, like, suppose most chefs are off on a Monday.
Yes.
Then you
We are also
they're
closed.
also on a Monday, and by the time you get off from your shift,
Yeah.
it's too late to go to the rest.
That's so. But Farmlore is mainly destination crowd, so it wouldn't really be a problem, right? Because people want to come to Farmlore.
Yes,
So
they know. We always know, like I said, we know our guests when they come and what they're doing. They know that they have to be here.
Okay.
So no walk-ins.
No
So
walk-in.
we kind
No
of
walk-ins,
no
only
walk-ins. Only reservations. And the reservation closes a day in prior. So
Yeah, ideally no walk-ins coming that far and getting rejected and going back.
you trust me, we have a lot of walk-ins that come in. I don't know how.
You just come in there.
So yesterday we having a conversation with one of the staff saying that we should not do that. We should give the guest names to the security so that when they're not allowed, it creates a mystery for them to book a reservation. They'll come back. One of our staff mentioned this yesterday. I'm like,
smart.
Nice.
Creative, yeah.
Yeah. Because they don't want to come to the restaurant. They also feel disappointed. They see the space. The charm goes away. When you're not even allowed to enter.
That's a different.
What is this place? Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna make sure.
I've come so far, I need a reservation next time.
Exactly.
That's smart, actually. It's a good curiosity element adds to that thing.
Exactly.
How far? It's like 45 minutes to Central, right?
Yes, easily. You rain, you're done.
Yeah, right.
And we're very particular about timings. That's something that we got a lot of
Flat for.
yes.
So they guys start the course at the sharp timing?
Yeah. 6:30 to 7, you need to be seated. Everybody doesn't sit at the same time, of course. But between 6:30 and 7, you should come in. After 7 hits, for every 10 minutes, you lose a course.
Every 10 minutes you lose a course.
Yeah.
And there's no going back. If someone comes
If
late,
you come
I've lost
more
it.
than 7:30, we want to encourage you. Your reservation is taken. Lost.
Interesting.
Because it really makes
I
sense
think
to
somebody
just serve you 6 courses. Because some people say, I'm coming at 8 o'clock. You serve me the last 3 courses. That's not the experience I want to give you. Sorry.
But what about the prep you have done?
understand the whole like each course is designed to support the next course and bring in that.
But what about the entire prep and the things costing wise, right? Like, don't you waste
Charge them when they do a
Yes,
reservation.
your reservation is only confirmed if you pay
upfront before?
the entire tasting match.
So you covered that aspect
Yes.
of things.
No, and I think with fine dining that is important because there's a lot of detailing, there's a lot of time spent, and knowing your covers is what helps you in doing your prep. So the moment the table doesn't show up, you've already prepped for them. This is expensive prep.
Plus farm to fork, right?
Yes,
Farm to fork, and I think you have to educate the crowd as well.
definitely.
It is a customer centric business, but that doesn't mean that they should be the ones always deciding
Yeah,
how it's
that's
supposed to be.
Correct.
that also we got a lot of for yes.
I'm glad that somebody has to. And tell them that, okay, no, this is not the only way that you come in and eat a la carte.
Yes.
Call for a naan once your first naan is over and bitch about it.
Yeah, we say we have a EOD, a dining etiquette on our website. We tell our guests specifically to go through our dining etiquettes before they come to the restaurant.
Oh, wow.
Before we give a call the previous day, we tell them specifically on certain things like no kids. You can't bring in kids.
Oh, so no
Age
kids.
of 12. No, you can't bring in kids below the age of 12 unless the kid behaves and is okay to eat, dine for the entire experience. They're okay. We've had exceptions.
Real exception.
We've had exceptions. One kid, age of 6, he came in, sat through the entire meal, finished all the plates, spoke, came to the chef's table, went to the kitchen, had a kitchen tour. We offer a kitchen.
A 6-year-old.
Yes, we've had exceptions.
Very rare, right?
Yes.
That's
So that is okay for us. I don't want kids running around.
But the problem,
the restaurant, kind of a restaurant for
Yes.
kids to be there. And
No
no,
pets.
kids is, they hinder other people's experience.
in what aspects?
If the
Noise?
you are sitting in a table with your friends and there's a family member and the kid is
It's
making
not for him, yeah.
it changes your dining experience completely.
But how often do you see kids make a fuss at a restaurant? Because
Which kid
unless it's a flight,
so far?
I don't think the experience something that you would understand.
Yeah. Red ants will freak out.
Exactly. Not about that. I think you need to give in some thought to a lot of dishes. You need that amount of like at least age.
Correct. The maturity to understand what's going on.
Yeah, that's all.
Fair enough. That kind of creates another level of exclusivity and stuff. It shows, hey,
Most restaurants, even those doesn't allow kids in dinner.
yeah,
Yeah, under 12. Because, it's not the sort of an environment for a young kid to be in, and there's a lot of drinking, watching thing. And because it takes away from other people's experience, which I think is unfair to them, the people who are there, right? But you do get a lot of flack for it, right? If
Yeah.
it's okay.
Initially, we did a lot. I went to this Indian accent. I went to Lemon Madison Park. This. I've traveled across the
Madison
globe.
Park is allowing kids.
You don't understand the amount of bullshit they throw at us. Yeah, okay, like give me some salt and pepper. Sorry, the chef's seasoning is the final seasoning. Is what we say. You won't believe I've dined in a lot of Michelin star restaurants and a lot of experiential dining. That lady said, chef said, can you name some grasshopper? Sorry, no offense to grasshopper guys, but the amount of thing you want to say and then say grasshopper, don't compare restaurants.
it
What
was-
I'm saying.
it's a completely altogether different experience
Respect.
and different shifts.
Respect what we're trying to do there. It's a two-way thing.
100%.
Yeah, our restaurant, like he said, it's not somewhere guest has got. Can't work like that in our restaurant.
We are giving you an experience and we have come for it.
It's a two-way road.
100%.
You can be respectful.
Exactly.
You can be, you can take in their requests. But
Like allergies and stuff, you can take in pre-hand and then
the idea of them leading the service the way they want to, I think is what it, but it is changing, right?
Yes.
A lot of people are now open to, earlier there was this notion that this is what a restaurant is and this is how it should be.
Supposed to be.
And if
Yes.
I'm coming in paying food, they should, like,
This much amount of service that they need to take care of me so well, more than
that plays a huge role.
So, I think, but now people are changing. They are okay with you telling them the concept and how it's going to go about. But it took a while. We
It took a while.
best to the start.
very.
Well, and Indians don't like,
The first half an hour is grumpy.
Grumpiness.
Grumpy. They're not looking at us. They're just looking at the food. And then once they know that the food is talking. It's a different vibe altogether. Seventh course, they literally talk to us like their friends.
That's good.
Just needed some food and some talking.
The food becomes the icebreaker, technically.
Yeah.
Right?
right? Since then, there's been a lot more exposure, right?
Yes.
Like a lot more sit-downs have started happening.
Yes.
In other places.
Yeah.
So they are getting used to this whole concept.
Like Papa's has opened up
Yeah.
and how they
You just have to go, and the rest of the experience is curated by the being.
But that also comes with a level of maturity from the people who are going to dine, right? If people are very used to conventional dining, they're not super open to going there. If someone has more awareness, let's say they've traveled around, let's say Europe or the US, they have more awareness outside.
I'll just say a little bit of open mind. Irrespective of traveling, traveling makes a lot of difference. No doubt. But a little bit of open mind makes a lot of difference. Once you experience it, then there are some people who want to come back and learn more or something like that. Even though they've not traveled a lot, they're open to conversations. They like the attitude, the vibe of the place. So,
No, but like, do you give extra courses? And
No.
suppose I'm having an array like the third course and I would want to repeat it.
Nothing.
No repeat courses.
No,
no repeat courses. How it's structured, it has to go that way. Even after the entire meal, you ask me for a piece of bread, I won't give you. Because I want to end it on that flavor note. I want to end it on that flavor.
Go back
Yes.
and there's no one on your entire.
Yeah, I don't want to change anything in that experience.
Coming to food critics, how often do you see food critics at Farmlore and how does it work? Like,
For a very long time, we didn't have that at the restaurant. Like I said, I think we didn't seem very welcoming, but it broke with Veer Sangvi coming in for the first time. So he called in and we were sold out. We didn't know it was Veer Sangvi. So Johnson picked up the call and said, we're sold out. Said, I'm Veer Sangvi. So we're sold out. He knew then after that Veer Sangvi. But the thing was, we are sold out. And once you come to the restaurant, you know that we actually don't have an extra place to put an extra chair.
Bit more.
It is not possible for us. Even if you ask me, put one chair there, you will not sit. How can two people sit like this and dine at a fine dine? Not
that
possible,
breaks
right?
away from the experience.
Yeah, so not possible. It didn't happen. Then after a couple of months, he made a reservation.
Wow.
And the day he made a reservation and we knew he was coming, except him, everybody from the city was calling us. They're calling us. From ITC to the airlines he flew in, the ITC calling in, Who's going to pick him up? Where's the car? Like, guys, we don't have any of it. You just need to come to the restaurant. That's all.
So they were expecting that there's going to be a
He didn't expect anything. They wanted us to send something like that.
just
Is that a preset industry standard whenever like
With hotels, I think yes, a little bit.
hotels?
Yes.
how this
I've
went
seen
to
with ITC where when somebody is coming, they have their entire preference likes, which is a great thing to know for a guest. I'm not saying no, but it's just little overdone.
Overdone.
Yeah.
What is your view on the amount of powers of food critic holders that can make and break a restaurant?
I think if he's good, if he knows what he's traveled, eaten a lot
What
of
is a good
places,
Yeah, who's a good?
who is a good food critic should have been a little bit of should have been in the industry. Somebody
As a
I
chef
yeah.
or like
Yes, that's honestly why I like this podcast also because of him. I love the fact that a chef is hosting it.
exactly.
Somebody from the industry.
That's
Yes,
know what exactly they're talking about.
yes,
And there you can have a real conversation.
yes, a lot. Yeah, you can. Yeah,
Relatability comes into play. Yeah.
yeah, not just bullshitting something and then trying to just write a great.
Surprisingly, in India, none of the food critics are actual people,
But from the industry.
right?
Yes.
It's usually media.
Yeah.
The person with the phone camera.
Yes.
They are all food journalists.
Even these people who call themselves food influencers and post different things, they have no reaction about
It's gone
anything.
a little bizarre.
Yes.
So it's changed, right? Now critics are different,
It's
influencers
just
are different,
different
and all of them are making a major impact on the
business.
restaurants. Yeah,
Yeah, like I mean, like fact, like some couple of
reel goes viral. One restaurant suddenly gets hit by a gazillion people.
Yes, Kripa Lamana.
Yeah.
Like, they're all doing what they're doing. I'm sure they know what they're doing. No offense on it. But I genuinely feel like if you've been a part of the industry, you know the back and the front of.
What goes behind
Yes.
it's easy to
Yeah.
rate it.
You just don't see it. You don't judge it only by a plate.
Fair. But for a restaurant like you, that wouldn't really play a huge role again, right? Because when you're talking about huge walk-ins because of a viral reel, that's a place which needs business and doesn't have like the reservation thing or doesn't go sold out completely. So they become super reliant on it, and that kind of carries forward to places like you, right? So now they say, hey, we did that, we did this.
I mean, in culinary culture, I think it's a relationship that we built after a lot of struggle only. Like, we didn't hit off with the right way in the first. But I think Raj and we also understood us a lot, and then we became the relationship grew rather than just us getting featured there. Now they come to a restaurant, just a lot of times they've come after that, just whenever they want to have a nice meal. They bring in somebody.
It was an organic thing, right? Rather than building a relationship
Yes.
just to get a star, you went the opposite way. And like if the product is good
Yes,
and you're getting your allocates and that, I think that's a bigger win than
Yes.
that okay.
exactly.
Because I send them a car for a pickup. That is what made the
It's
change.
very organic.
100%.
Which I think is the correct way to do it.
I think so.
Ha.
Long lasting also, I think.
The overdoing it is when you are a little underconfident about your product.
Exactly.
To charm them with everything else.
True. Do you think concept like Farmlore would work in any other city?
It would. Maybe
what's
if it has its own take, and even now, if sometimes people ask us, why don't you open Farmlore in the central state? I think the charm of the place is because it's in the farm. Everything stitches together the right way.
Correct.
No, when you go away from the city a bit,
Yeah,
this concept has been there outside. Like you were talking about Dan Barber's Bay.
exactly.
That is way out there. Most of the Michelin star restaurants,
Savakin, example.
I love.
I love Savakin.
I didn't feel bad. I was just like, oh, Baku shut down.
Yeah.
But Magnus Faviken, even the Chef's Table episode, one of my favorite one is that Ben Shuri is.
Yes, yes, I love that.
I love
Yes.
how he's not like
Just
was focused on the fact that he was not a natural chef.
yes,
He picked up because of the situation,
exactly.
and like he pulled up his
What energy that guy has. I met him during the Mad Symposium. Magnus, I met Ben Shuri. Ben Shuri is DJing.
DJing.
Yeah,
But he seems like a very kind.
I said,
chill guy.
yeah, he is a very chill guy. Kitchen was full of all the chefs from Avartana. Said to your right and bent to my left and back on Magnus. Then he said, chef, you said right. Oh, I moved left.
Yeah, they were doing 30 courses.
Yeah.
Right? And Magnus Faviken was doing 30 courses in a place that was frozen for 6 months. So even during peak winters.
That is proper destination, honestly.
Yeah, honestly.
People cry for this.
I mean, still traveling to come to Farmlore itself in mindset, it adds on to the experience.
Yes.
Right? For example,
Honestly, like
You don't know what you're coming for. You don't know the menu. You don't know what you're
all you can think about is the restaurant because that's the end destination.
Yes.
there is a ride. You get some time to think about the restaurant. I honestly like know this thing to the restaurants that are there in Indranagar and Koramangala, but it is a little too overstimulating these days. Sometimes I go to Indranagar and then I decide not to eat and just go home and order something because you just get full looking at
Yes.
1,000 and you and food being cooked. And also confuses you, right? Which one to go for, which one is good. So I think, do you think there is a major saturation in not just
Little.
restaurants in general?
Yes.
Food
Yes.
has become a little too mainstream,
A little to me. Yes.
right?
Honestly, with Indranagar, it's just like this. I can like in just this. I can see 4 restaurants.
Yeah.
Cocktail and small place. Cocktail and small place. You can see that.
Cocktail, small places, big restaurant, but it's there's so much of it. I think it becomes it kills the whole vibe.
But so one would argue saying that's the F&B landscape booming, right? Because there's a lot of different places in one area. That means the positive sign for the city that
It's tight
market
It's a
there.
bubble.
Yeah.
I think it's a bubble.
Coming from Chennai then, like if you're saying Bangalore is almost like a bubble given that thing, Chennai is on a rather slower blow. So Chennai or Bangalore when it comes to F&B scene?
Bangalore.
Bangalore.
Bangalore as of now, but Chennai is popping now.
Chennai.
I recently went.
I hope it gets a different kind of this thing. I'm sure it'll take its own.
Both of you are from Chennai.
Yes.
But how open are the locals to Farmlore or to suppose a thing like Lupa?
I think it's growing a lot. 3 years back, I would have said no.
Hmm.
You won't believe, last week alone, I had about 6 guests from Chennai who just traveled to Farmlore only for the dining experience.
Wow. That's what it's so cool feeling to
Yeah,
coming.
yeah.
Does it change when
Chef, you're from Chennai. Like, yeah.
But honestly, again, on the other hand, to be a devil's advocate, Chennai is somewhat conservative than what you would say Bangalore. Comparing
the
with
spending
alcohol,
capacity is also different.
Yes, spending capacity, major. Even dining out culture itself is not a thing.
yeah,
See, in Bangalore, people don't cook a lot at home sometimes. I feel like they like to be seen outside. They like to. In Chennai, it's the other way around. You definitely eat at home.
A lot from it being the retirement capital to now.
Exactly.
The hub for IT, younger crowd, colleges. So those people are anyways not eating
correct.
or making food at home. And I think our generation sort of went off the line of cooking at home and eating home cooked.
Yes.
Right? You want to order out even if there's food at home.
Yes.
McDonald's sounds nice.
But again, I feel like it's a lack of awareness among the Chennai crowd because they could count the number of restaurants they know in their hands, right? Like what they want to.
But you also put food. It was like it's more of a closed community. They want to promote the internal brands more, like a KFC. There was chicken.
Yeah,
That,
chicken,
they would promote the local version of it.
yeah,
They own. And anyways, alcohol was an impact.
yeah.
So that stopped a lot of restaurants from. It was
But we do see a lot of restaurants now.
Yes.
And
a lot.
I was quite surprised.
So coming to your role as an head chef, what's Farmlore looking at in the next 6 months to a year?
So like I said, we want this creative space to be more like an institute. So we're getting an R&D kitchen where chefs can work on different things, where we want the staff guest ratio to be almost 3:1 or 2:1, where we want those many people working on different things.
Wow.
Irrespective of it going on the menu or not. And something we're opening up is called Omniscience by Lure. Majorly will be catering to groups, but that's a different space, a different menu that also we're looking at. Maybe we're still brainstorming on it, thinking of a 25 or 30 course journey
Wow.
with wines and having a small chef's table in the kitchen itself.
Very cute.
This, just curated by one of the chefs if they have a choice. If not, just coming up with a different menu altogether. So that's something that we're working on, more intimate kind of, yes.
And it's only group bookings.
For Omniscience, yes, you'll have to have a minimum of 10 people because the space itself demands. It'll only be nice if there's at least 10 people there.
And how many? Is it just going to be 10 covers? For
No, it's it's a community table.
Okay.
Oh, something.
So yes, it's a community table. So 10 people minimum needs to be there for Omniscience. Yeah, for chef's table, we're still working on it. That's the way that goes.
And are you going to be hiring like a completely separate team for the R&D or people who are working on
People who are working there, of course, given first priority because they've been with us pretty long enough to understand what we do and how to go about it. But of course, we are looking for like-minded people to join us. That puts me again in that thing where I would like to say that when you apply to a restaurant, I generally feel like these days they don't put in that much effort to know about the restaurant or the people of the restaurant. That's I feel sad about it sometimes when I talk to a lot of, and our team is a very young team.
Yeah.
Starting from 20 years old, the oldest is 30. Like me, I'm 30 and Johnson's of course in his 40s. That's the only thing. The entire team is in 20. So we like a very young kitchen team because a lot of energy and we feel like a clean slate is easier to train.
Train. True.
But seeing that,
To apply for your R&D kitchen, like what sort of people are you looking for? What is the age bracket, experience?
So we wouldn't hire somebody for the R&D kitchen, especially unless they come with a great deal of experience.
Okay.
We like them to work on the line, understand what Farmlore is about, and then they'll be moved to the R&D kitchen.
Okay. So
So it will be a rotation. Yes.
Okay.
With us, we say even if we hire a sous chef, which we are process of hiring a sous chef, even our head chef, whoever in whichever position you join, you work the line. You understand the base, and then the line works for you when time comes.
That's pretty cool. That makes sense.
And I think which makes sense. If you're a new person joining at a higher position, you need to understand how the kitchen functions, what
Exactly.
the dynamics are.
Literally, we send them for store inventory. Just go do the store because you need to know what is in the store. Makes a lot of difference in how you think, how you come up with dishes.
And I think it's only a delusional person would be like, I'll join as a sous chef and start sewing.
People who come like that, they don't stay with us for a very long time. They know that this is not their space. I've had a lot of sous chefs who have come and then after a week or two, they just feel like this is not their space because as much as I tell them to clean a table, it feels like I'm a sous chef. You ask me to clean a table.
But this is like the kitchen version of shadowing in a corporate life, right? Like shadowing someone experience, you're doing it in a workspace. So logically, it makes sense.
So that's what we're looking at.
So, people listening to this, they can't straight apply for the R&D team, right?
No.
Because a lot of the newer generation, I think, seem interested in non-operational jobs as well. And our industry doesn't really offer a lot apart from like a food journalism is there and doing your own gigs, but things like R&D, things like a fermentation center, all of that.
We like that person to have a kitchen background a little bit for them to understand whatever role they would like to, they eventually would play in the restaurant. Even if somebody, like a creative director wants to join at the restaurant where he just thinks of everything from the outside, including food, we want that person to know or to have gone through some experience in the kitchen.
Apart from Farmlore, what is like Mythrie's dream restaurant or where do you see yourself in future? What sort of a...
Of course, I would have my own fermentation space. That's a definite, that time is just what will answer when it will happen. That will be a space for me. That will be my creative space. Apart from that, yes, definitely we'll be opening a restaurant.
Restaurant. What sort of a restaurant do you want to open? Like Farmlore, I'm pretty sure is...
if it's in India, which I want it to be, it will definitely be towards, it will be a destination restaurant.
Okay.
I'm thinking mostly towards Western Ghats side. Don't know which part of Western Ghats I want to do. I want to work a lot with ingredients and just explore. That's something that is interesting me right now, saying that I don't know how it will change over the years, but I'm sure it will take shape the best way possible that it can come out. That I'm pretty sure that I'll ensure I work with very small team. It will definitely be a people-driven place, and it should be a creative space for sure.
How long in the future do you see yourself? Right, because the whole question is, am I ready? Can I learn more?
3-4 years. 3-4 years. Yes.
Because this is something that we do at the end of every episode where we ask random rapid fire rounds, the TRP. So, you're ready?
Yeah.
Start good. I think Ram, you go.
So the first question, if you have to choose one dish as your comfort food, which one would it be?
Parpasadam, Vettakoyambu, Keera, Urlakandu.
Love
Has
this.
to be.
Everything my mom forced me to eat when I was a kid. It could be like
my head. I'm trying to one day.
Dal rice, tamarind curry,
Okay.
potato fry, spinach.
So, thank you. Translation. Okay. But if you had to choose one cuisine, now that Farmlore is like pretty cuisine agnostic, if you could only cook one cuisine, what would it be?
Indian.
Indian?
Yeah.
Any specific Indian or just like?
Generally flavors that I've grown up eating.
Okay.
It has to be that. I have to relate to the food.
Okay.
Chennai or Bangalore, what's your personal favorite to live in?
As a city, not food wise.
Bangalore.
Bangalore.
Gonna get flat.
Not idea. Out of lots of family mainly. Can you say this? Something that no one knows about you.
Big time into fitness.
Yeah.
Big time into fitness.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's not on.
Fitness is not a lot.
You don't promote.
No, is part of my lifestyle as important as chef is.
How do you find the
And
diet?
has it always been like that?
Yes, over the last 12 years.
12 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Some form of fitness.
How? Like it is service.
Every
What you
day,
always
2 hours has to go into fitness. Otherwise, I can't move. Like it doesn't. Yeah,
Morning person or a
morning.
morning?
You're a morning person.
Morning. Every day 6.
Hey.
Yeah.
Every day 6 o'clock.
Yeah, irrespective of when I sleep.
Day and that.
Day in the 12, 12:30, 1.
That's like 5, 4.
Yeah. 7 o'clock, workout mat has to be out. Whatever I'm doing, yes.
That's pretty cool.
What's your favorite restaurant in Bangalore or the restaurant that you find yourself going to regularly?
I love the banh mi at Forbidden Fruit.
Okay.
I love nalapaka. Generally, the flavors are amazing.
Okay. Not with that.
You should go. North Karnataka, amazing flavors. Like Nabu. Have started liking Nabu after their new this thing. I like what they're doing. Toast and Tonic has been my forever, like, feel good vibe place. Love to go there. Yeah, yes.
Pretty nice. Yeah, it's a good range. A common disagreement you have when it comes to fine dining.
Strict service.
Strict service. Why?
Is it?
Not at least not in India, abroad. When you say upscale fine dine, it's a very strict service. You feel a little.
It's a very uptight
Yes.
mechanic.
Yes.
Right?
You start moving in a certain way.
Like very robotic.
Yes, little bit.
What's a food trend or a general industry trend that you're seeing that you don't like? And one that you like?
What I don't like,
Huh.
like is fermentation. It's picking up a lot. Don't like,
It can be industry or food related.
I feel like a little bit, the word trend itself, I feel like restaurants more than their originality or what they want to do are just moving with the trend, and the concept of the restaurant itself is changing too often. That's something that should not happen. You know what you want to do, you stick by it. You of course grow with it in a different way, but you can't keep changing the concept of the restaurant itself.
Because it's trendy.
Exactly. Then it doesn't.
That doesn't give longevity, is there?
Exactly.
If you weren't a chef, what would you be doing today?
Be a masseuse.
Okay, how did that come into the picture?
Always been interested
Always?
since I was a kid. Yes.
Well, interesting.
Been interested in Chinese medicine, acupressure. Generally like to find points, and that's something I do even now. When I do like home people and I charge them, but yeah, I do. I think I realize this.
The side business.
I still think of it sometimes. If not later,
Maybe that
I would do
the
that. Yes.
experimental concept.
I don't know how to
While you
bring together.
there's something
No.
you from
I'll just do that after a point of time.
point of time.
But yes, I think I'd be a masseuse.
Well, yeah, that was pretty cool. It was lovely having you on the podcast.
Pleasure having
Thank you, of
my
course.
friend.
Just so much fun.
Coming.
Yes.
And I wish I could speak for longer, but maybe we'll cover more things. And once both the R&D kitchen
Yes.
and the group, what was it called?
Omniscience.
Omniscience. That's open. Then I think we can go.
Yes, gather all the insights out. Yeah.
Or we'll see you at Farm.
Yeah, please.
We'll
Please, yes.
next time there maybe.
Yeah, just come. Let me know when you guys want to be there. I'll take care of it.
Sorry.
Yes.
We'll reserve and then we'll.
No, don't reserve and all. Just tell me a little ahead and I will take care of it. So,
No, we
love to have you guys.
We're talking about
Okay.
teaching the customers, and we have to follow practice.
People in the industry, that is something also I was just telling, like something like upcoming chefs or people in the industry who can't afford to spend so much but still have the eagerness and the interest to learn. At a place like mine, I would like to give them a discount, like so that they can.